but she didn't want her to die, which is when that random girl walked around the corner and said, I can fix that. I can do anything for my sister. So, quick interlude. I fucked up, misrecorded the audio and videos, so I don't have the beginning part of this. I just have the middle and end. So, don't be confused, because it didn't make sense anyway. But, please, keep enjoying the video, like and subscribe, and, check out my Patreon down below, so you can get access to some live streams in the Discord. Something like that, I guess. Back to the video. The fact that when Yuko fully transformed and took on the power of the devil, she basically fully transformed into the devil is a little bit new. But sure, that kind of makes sense. That's the whole point of the devil making a contract. The devils just don't want to die. They're immortal, but even with being immortal, they're afraid of death. So they make contracts with humans to make their lives easier so that they can live longer. Justice Devil made a contract with Yuko so it could live longer. After the fact that when the War Devil killed it the first time when it was in the class president, it quickly moved over to Yuko because she was there and took over and made contact with her so it would continue to survive. But this is where things get interesting. Why now does she look like a fiend? And that's where things take a turn for worse for me when I'm looking at the Chainsaw Man wiki. So basically, since I started reading Chainsaw Man, a little insight onto myself, when I first started reading Chainsaw Man, I always wanted to make a video about the devils. I thought that was such a unique, cool power structure, just creature in the events. And I always want to make a video about it, but I've never dived deep enough into it to actually feel like a video is justified. Of course, other people already have made a video about devils in Chainsaw Man universe, but I still feel like it needs a little bit more in-depth look at it. So maybe I'll do it one day, and maybe this will just be the start of that. So we know there's mainly three forms of devil. A devil, like very first chapter, we saw the tomato devil and we saw the zombie devil. Devils, they are beings of human fears. Don't know why humans are afraid of tomatoes, but maybe in Japan, I don't know. The fears of humans embodied, basically, from hell. There are devils. There are fiends. We know everyone's favorite fiend is Power. She's a fiend. Makes sense. Violence fiend is called a fiend. We have Angel, who is a devil. What's the distinction between fiends and devils? That's the whole point of what I'm trying to get to, because I was reading the Chainsaw Man wiki, getting back to that, and now Asa Mitaka, the girl who is not in contract but being possessed by the War Devil, is listed as being a fiend. Now that just doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know if this is more of a theory, but I'll just say a discussion. This is Chainsaw Man Chapter 110 discussion. What the fuck is a devil? What the fuck is a fiend? What the fuck is any of this? So boom, we have a devil. As far as I know, a devil is the embodiment of a fear that comes to Earth. So our main thought is that we saw the zombie devil come back to Earth, and it looked exactly like when Denji first killed him. Maybe he wasn't dead. Maybe he doesn't die if you kill all of the his zombies he creates. But since the zombies can make more zombies, I don't think that's the case. I believe he was completely killed in Chapter 1 of Chainsaw Man by Denji. But he came back, so he got sent to hell. He got reincarnated in hell. And I guess the thought is that if you die in hell, you get reincarnated back on Earth. Or my thought is that maybe there's a way for devils to make contacts with other devils, or there's 1,000 of doors in the ceiling of hell. Maybe they can escape through a portal. Either way, devils can come to Earth in their full devil being. Got it? Cool. But 2, there's fiends. As far as we knew from part 1 of Chainsaw Man, fiends are devils that have gone to Earth, probably in a weaker state, and instead of being in their full devil form, maybe they're not as powerful of a devils as other beings. They decide that, hey, I'm gonna take over a human corpse, I'm gonna take over the body of a dead human, and I'm gonna control it. And that's where we get all the information about fiends, because we saw Power. And another big one that we've seen is the Violence Fiend. Where do we get this next piece of information? Sometimes devils take over bodies of humans that aren't completely dead yet, or they are the brain is still intact enough to hold thoughts and memories and even feelings and emotion. That's where the violence fiend is very strong but very human. He's very human-esque except for his face, which is usually covered by the plague doctor's mask. So he is a fiend. He is a devil controlling a human body. Makes sense, the human's not there. Even though they said he has some consciousness, some memories, the human, as far as we can tell, isn't making main thoughts for. Which is where calling Asa Mitaka a fiend doesn't make sense to me. If anything, I would say that is more a devil contract. But if you say that, that would mean fiends themselves are devil contracts, which, fuck it, they probably are. The first fiend we saw besides Power was the kind of like cockroach looking motherfucker in the house with all the porn. And Denji killed him with an axe. Who's to say that man probably lived in that apartment, probably drank himself half to death. A devil came by, or probably some disgusting low-level bug devil came by and was like, hey, let me control your body. Or I'll kill you, one, threatening, but two, you'll still technically be alive. Technically, and live on. Just let me do what the fuck I want. Drunk, half dead guy probably said, yeah, go ahead. Boom, you have a fiend. A fiend. Power's case, a random girl, which we don't know how old she is, you motherfucking weirdos. Random girl, probably in the middle of the woods somewhere in who knows Japan, is on the brink of death, and what comes along but the blood devil takes control of her body and is basically like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll take you and make you live if you let me take over your body. And boom, we have Power, which is, it goes to show you who knows how Power is going to act in the next time we see her, because we are going to see her. That has to happen, because who's to say that maybe Power's, the body the blood devil took over, wasn't half rotten to death. So the brain's, that's why Power's so stupid. The brain is rotten. But we don't really know. So then it comes to part 2 of Chainsaw Man, where we see Asa getting possessed by the war devil without really any consent, as far as I remember. She takes over the body and has the ability to take full control over Asa whenever she wants, but just decides not to. She left. That's the thing. The war devil chose to leave part of her brain intact so that Asa would still have power. So it tells me 2 things. We're breaking this down. Hopefully this video isn't too long, but we're breaking this down. 1, devils do possess dead bodies. When they possess dead bodies, they are the devil, but you can call them fiends, because outright devils that are fiends are going to be weaker than if they were able to have the full devil body out. Makes sense. Remember when big old man who in charge of death hunters now, when he had a whole bunch of people summon what was it, the devil of hell, like half horse, ugly cyclops looking guy, they had to make a lot of sacrifices to get his true body there. Makes sense. He's a very strong devil. But if you're a weaker devil, which we know that the war devil is, they have to result to just taking over the bodies and turning those humans into fiends. So yes and no, Asa is a fiend, but I just don't know how I feel about that, because the one thing I haven't said, the one thing besides the devil possesses the dead body to turn them into a fiend, the only other thing that we really know about them is that they are fiends because they have deformities on their face. Power has horns. Violence Devil had like 4 eyes. Every fiend we've seen who we know is a fiend has had some face augmentation, basically something that sticks out. Asa does. She has scars on her face. So Asa, okay, I don't know. I went on this huge ramble just to realize Asa technically is a fiend, and I don't like that fact, but technically she is. She meets every standard that would make her a fiend. So whatever. But what does that make Yuko? I know it did all that 10 minutes into the video and we haven't talked about that. What is Yuko then? Yuko now, she started off making a contract with the devil. So she's not a devil, not a fiend. She's just a contract wielder. And then when that, most likely what happened when that contract was up, the devil was supposed to take over her body, which that also almost happened in chapter 108, 109. But cool. Now she's back in her human form, but she looks like a devil. She has not just face augmentation, body augmentations. Which brings me to the next thing, which I forgot to mention in the beginning. When devils can come, they can come to Earth. They can also be reincarnated on Earth. If they die on Earth, they get sent to hell. If they die in hell, they get sent to Earth unless the chainsaw devil eats it, which just wipes them out from existence entirely. So why is Yuko now, how did Yuko go from being a contract wielder with a devil to being a reincarnation of the devil? That doesn't make any sense to me. But that's all I got for that part of the video. So we're going to move on to the part 2 of the video where we talk about that random girl that seemingly gave Yuko a power boost. Now, my prevailing theory, the first thought I had when I first saw the chapter, was that this girl must be one of the 4 horsemen. Because if you look back at that chapter, which I will right now, why go to part 2, my man? It's this one. Okay. If you go back to chapter 108, where Yuko not Yuko. When Asa kills Yuko, makes that amazing sword out of her clothes, leaves her naked, fan service, and just completely dominates Yuko. She then gets a flashback to killing somebody, and it's like, yo, I don't want you to die. I'm sorry. Again, really stupid. You chopped her up into a fucking 1,000 pieces. Let her die. But she didn't want her to die, which is when that random girl walked around the corner and said, do you not want her to die? I can fix that. I can do anything for my sister. And if you look at her eyes, she has rings in her eyes like Makima. So it throws a big headache, wrench into the mix. It gives me a big headache because who is she? She says anything for my little sister, which makes me think, okay, Asa is technically the war devil. The 2 we know right now are women, so they're probably all women. On one hand, makes sense. On the other hand, pretty cool idea. But what throws the biggest wrench is she has rings for eyes. I don't like it that she has rings for eyes and that her hair is a lighter color, because that makes me instantly think that this is the reincarnation of Makima, Reize. But Reize is younger. As far as we know, devils don't age like super fast. They age like humans, or when they get into on Earth, they stay the same age at least. So this means this has to be a different devil, which we have. The 4 devils of the apocalypse is Plague. Let me look that up actually. So this video has gotten pretty long, but let's finish it up. You know who the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are. We have war, famine, death, and I think people like to call it pestilence, which isn't actually, apparently it's not accurate. You have war, you have famine, you have death. Basically makes sense. But the first rider on the white horse just doesn't have a title apparently, which is who Makima is. Makima is the control devil, and she's kind of the, we would say, the strongest devil. Kind of, I would say, is probably spearheaded the situation of trying to kill Pochita, the chainsaw devil. Then you have War, the devil we meet now. Makes sense. In our sense, the War devil can turn anything it owns or possesses into a weapon. Pretty cool, and it had some pretty crazy weapons at one point, which it now is trying to get back. Again, pretty cool. Then we have Famine, which people, I guess that's where Famine and Pestilence gets flip-flopped, maybe? I don't know, because I always thought Pestilence was one of the writers, but whatever. Famine basically just means hard times, bad times, becoming poor, losing, I think it means like losing loved ones. It carries a balance scale, rides a black horse, and symbolizes famine. Balance scale, which I'm just gonna say, it turns your good luck into bad luck. So if older times, famine, the worst thing that could happen was a drought, because that's how everyone made their money, by farming. And then, cool, if you can't make money as a farmer, other people can't eat. So a lot of shit goes bad in that situation. So then there's famine. And then the last one is the fourth horseman rides a pale horse and is identified as death. And that's what I think that's who we met the last few chapters ago, who revived Yuko. It makes more sense to be death because Yuko was gonna die. Being a devil, she was going to fucking die. But that was reversed, and she was kind of brought back to the fullest level of health you could think of. Maybe that would also mean famine, tipping the scales back in her favor, and it's why maybe it tipped a little too much and became super strong. But we don't know. Fujimoto hasn't told us anything yet, so we don't know anything yet. So that's where I'm going to leave that. Not really a theory here now that I think about it, but hey, fuck it, if it gets views. Long story short, I think that Yuko must still be a devil contract, but most likely has become a devil reincarnation, which is why she looks like that. Asa technically is a fiend, even though I don't like to admit it. She is a fiend. Because she was dead technically, and she had her body possessed without her permission. And then that leads us to the new girl, the new four horsemen, who I do believe would be the Death Devil. Brought Yuko back from death, stronger than she was before, and that fucked her up. Or maybe she is we'll stick with that. I'll stick with that. Thank you very much for watching the video. Subscribe to the video if you want to subscribe. Like the video if you want to like it. I don't know. I haven't done this in a long time. But nevertheless, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Did it right this time.